you get a good shot of the loquats because we missed this tree, but there's beautiful bunches of perfect looking fruit up there. There's there's various varieties of loquats. So we've got grapes here. On the other side, there's yuccas that are blooming. The blooms are edible as well. And these petals are kind of succulent as well, but they're edible. You might sprinkle them on top of a salad.
Okay. So this is a yucca, and they're fruit? Do they ever have fruit?
If they have a flower, they have fruit. Okay. But it's not to be confused with yucca, which is a tuber.
Okay.
But
the yucca, and which part did you say was?
So this is the flower and the petals. Each of these petals is edible.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I didn't know.
So you might first. I haven't figured out how to eat them in quantity besides sprinkling them on a salad. Roman, Darim, Granada, or pomegranate.
Granada is pomegranate?
Yes. And then right behind it, we have this broadleaf fig tree. Figs. The figs are forming right here in the leaf axils. Can you see? If you go in close. Fig leaves are also edible. So each leaf axil has a fig forming. If you touch the leaves or hear the leaves, they're very rough and an irritant to the skin. If you break off a branch, a white latex comes out. It's an irritant. It's also used as a vegan rennet to make cheese.
Interesting.
We have a common in southern Arizona, black mission, brown Turkish, and then there's a green or white fig, for which we have a jam right now, white fig blanco with Meyer lemon preserve. The second crop of figs are much smaller and sweeter and much more abundant than the first big ones that come off. What you're smelling is not fig, you're smelling jasmine, which is above my head.
It smells so good.
Northwest, East Coast people recognize this.
It's almost like an apple. No, it's fuzzy. I don't know what that is.
Isn't that interesting? It's a nectarine. So there you go. And then over here we've got bamboo. That's used for construction and other things, but not edible except for the bamboo shoots. And then we have the carob tree, which is dioecious, meaning they've got male trees and female trees, and only the females produce anything, just like in the human species.
So do they need to be planted together in order to...
So there are self-pollinating now, Kara, because one of our biggest trees that we harvest every year near the Quaker house is a self-pollinating. It's the only tree around. And so what's interesting about this is the flowers have set, and if you see these like right on the branches there, those are the dried flowers, and then these bright lime green beans come out, big fat pods about this long. They look just wild when we're still green, and then they dry on the tree. Those are then harvested and made into carob powder, carob nibs, and everything else. We've got the pineapple guava that we saw over there, where the petals are edible and sweet. They melt in your mouth. Honeysuckle, another edible.
Also like carnations on a tree. I have never seen such a thing.
This is a flowering ornamental pomegranate. As you can see, the calyx.
Is it eatable?
No. So these are ornamental, and see the calyx looks like the forming of a pomegranate.
Yeah.
But the ornamentals are meant to flower big and then drop. And not produce fruit for only American reasons why you would have an edible tree that you would make into an ornamental, so as not to dirty the ground with human edible food. Yeah, we're special. This is Artemisia, or silver mound. It's quite fragrant, and it's what they make the alcohol called absinthe. That's what it's made from. Absinthe.
So
sorry.
definitely hard no on not eating that, right?
So I did a dance performance in that location called "You Are What You Eat." So all aloes come from the African continent. They were brought here, especially around Phoenix during World War II, to address the many burn victims.
I know this for stomach egg is so good.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Do you cook it or just eat it
No,
raw
you remove it. There's a liquid inside.
and just
So
eat it?
you drink. It's very bitter.
The catcomb flower of the mesquite, and then this little beans starting to form now. So it'll be the optimum time for harvesting mesquite is up until July 4th, because it's less likely that they've been hit by rain. There's a danger of aflatoxin for mesquite beans, which is what peanut allergies cause people. This is a spineless prickly pear. The idea of the scientists at the U of A was to design a prickly pear that in drought periods would be edible for cattle. They forgot to ask the cattle until after they developed this cross. And the cattle don't really like it. But what is edible are the young pads before they form the spines. You take these, you put them over an open flame to kill it, to burn any flames off of them. You can cut them and they cook them. They taste like green beans. You can pickle them, and you can brine them as well. And then just a few fruit. So there's two things edible. One is the small leaves, small pads called nopalitos. I don't know what that is in English. And then these fruit are forming out the side of this pad here. Those are called tuna in Spanish, or prickly pear fruit. And we're not harvesting prickly pear fruit this year because we harvested so much last year. My freezer's full of the juice, which we make jellies and combine with marmalades. Brett's an artwork, but it's a Texas mahogany. So really hardy pods, beautiful.
Hardy pods, I like that.
Hardy pods, but couldn't you see them in a Brett?
I have seen them in Boston.
A beautiful trumpet flower is called Chalopsis linearis. It's also known as desert willow. The beautiful flowers can be made into a tea, and there's various colors, light and dark. So desert willow. I don't know if it has medicinal properties as well. The one in the middle with the light pink one, that's also a desert willow. So we've thought about trying to candy these, trying to figure out what to do with them.
These are so popular. I see it's all over.
Yeah, they're a native, so they're well adapted here, obviously. Yes. And I had just suggested the kombucha maker, Joe Myers, try to make kombucha out of Chalopsis tea or desert willow tree. We have ironwood, which is they call it, looks like a smoky flowering tree over there. Those pods are also edible. I like them in particular after they've gone from their fresh green form to the seeds, and then you can sprout them, and they're delicious sprouts. I'm not a big sprout fan, but Palo Verde sprouts and the ironwood sprouts are delicious.
Wow, okay.
You see the saguaros blooming. Often people think the blooms are red, but that's actually not until June when the flowers
Beautiful white
die away and the fruit comes out. We've harvested these out in Saguaro West with Stella, who passed on in 2019, I think. But her daughters are keeping the tradition. They have grandfathered in a section of the protected Saguaro National Park. Now it used to be Monument. And they have permission to harvest and make their saguaro syrup, which is then made into saguaro wine, part of it. So we've done that a couple times. A neat experience. You take the saguaro ribs, and there's a crosshair at the top that you wire on to pull down the fruit, and then somebody's sitting there with a basket or a bucket, kind of like we were doing with the loquats. But it's delicious fruit, and we don't do anything with it. We just donate it to the Tohono O'odham tribe, but we try to eat as much as we can when we're in the field. It's like a leathery, just sweetness, beautiful fruit.
So all of those flowers
So
all those buds basically will turn into fruits.
Correct.
And being new, so they don't actually, those aren't going to make arms or anything, but each little arm
those are just buds. All go out and bloom, and then each bloom turns into an individual fruit. And they split open, and they look picturesque, flower-like when they split open like that. Both desert willow flowers can be made into tea. I think we should press them and make art with the pressed flowers.
Let's do it.
Says Barbara to the art teacher.
My muse.
So all cactus produce flowers and fruit, and all cactus fruit is edible. Some are more friendly than others. So the more spines, the less friendly. Some fruit don't have any spines on them. Some have them all over them. The buds of cholla, which is the link opuntia variety, and that's a famous Native American food called cholla buds. It's the hardest food I've ever had to prepare, and we'd be much skinnier if we were eating cholla buds all the time because it's so much work. These are jojobas. We harvest jojobas at Iskashitaa, but for the to press into oil.
Is that hard?
We're going to be doing it soon. It's a lot of work. This is a Lycium variety species. It's also known as wolfberry, and in modern superfoods, it's called goji berry. So this is a desert goji berry. So all cactus are native to the Americas. So anywhere else there's cactus in the world originally came from the Americas, north, central, south. And again, these blooms that you see, this is in the night blooming cereus family, which is dragon fruit, as well as the famous night blooming cereus, Pinio cereus gregii. And all the flowers then turn into fruit. All of them are edible, including the. Thank you, Gretchen. And then we harvest dragon fruit, but we also harvest Peruvian apples, which is a columnar cactus version of this tribe of cacti. This is called Texas olive. It's they produce a small green fruit. These are not ripe yet. It's an acquired taste. They are edible just as they are, but our Iraqi friends taught us that she wouldn't ever eat them just raw, but they pickle them. But I've had several staff members that ate them straight up. An acquired taste, I would say. Okay. All right. I think we're good.